Welcome to another episode of Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond, connecting you to the most inspiring and amazing people that are thriving each and every day. I am your host, Lou Diamond, and today on Thrive Loud, it's a catch-up episode. And for those on Thrive Loud live, watching this on LinkedIn and YouTube, you get to see this charming-looking individual who is known as the management savior. He helps develop management teams to improve efficiency and increase revenue. He's a keynote speaker, best-selling author, and a new book that just came out, which we're going to talk about on this program. Good friend of mine coming to us from just outside of New York in Roslyn, Long Island, Ralph Peterson. Ralph, how are you today?
I'm doing really great. Thank you for having me. I'm super excited. I have to admit that although I do like the moniker that I'm a management savior, I do my best to try to save them. I'm also a management killer. I'm a little bit of a dream killer too. So it's a yin and yang with me, you know.
It's all okay. The way I look at it is that if you are helping people lead better, you're doing good things, which is what you're doing. Now, I'm gonna stress this because you're doing good things.
That's right. And I'm a good manager.
Good manager.
Did we talk about the manager? Yet? The good
hold on. Little shameless plug. We got the book in his hand. We got the book in my hand. And wait for all those watching. Boom. There's the book right there. All right. So the good manager, being great is overrated. You were on the show, believe it or not, I think over 2 years ago, maybe.
My gosh, a long time ago.
In fact, your other book, which we were featuring, is kind of behind you over there.
That's right. Which one? Congratulations.
Yes. The one with the mask on the face.
Yeah.
I think we did a good cover art where we had a mask on the face, or we took a picture somewhere together. But tell us, okay, so first of all, what brought about you writing The Good Manager? Being great is overrated. I
got to tell you that I love writing. I write a column every week. And I've been a syndicated columnist for a long time. I love telling stories, and I love management. I love using story to propel how to get better in management, how to solve problems. However, this book is not one of those rah, pat on the back. Everybody, we're going to have a great time. Everybody is going to be super great and nice and happy. This book, I wrote it as a warning, and it's quite literally a warning. I think we may have talked about this the last time I was on. There's almost 7 out of 10 new managers fail in the first 90 days. They fail. They literally get demoted or they get fired. I'm not talking like they fail, they don't do a good job. I mean, they legitimately don't last in the management role past 90 days. And this book, I tell you why that happens. This book is a warning. Like, these are the reasons why most people fail. This is what happens to people. I have the rules of management. There are 5 simple rules of management. Then I go through the golden rules of management. And then I go through a couple of little warnings that you should be cautious of.
Little warnings. Can we talk about, like, what kind of warnings are we talking about?
Well, let me say it like this. Like, there are, when you're a new manager, when you're first coming in and you're deciding you just got promoted and you're super excited to be a manager, there are certain things that you believe that are true, like you should treat people the way you want to be treated. That's a golden rule of management. Or you should, never ask anyone to do anything that you wouldn't do. Have you ever heard that? That's a nice golden. That's like a golden rule to live by. And as a manager, we think that's the attitude we should have going into being a manager. Or a manager should choose your battles. Or a manager should never micromanage their team. Micromanaging is almost like the 4-letter word of management. Or, my favorite, you should praise publicly and reprimand privately. You should always, if you have to have a stern conversation with somebody or, reprimand somebody, you should always do it in hushed tones behind a closed door. I'm telling you, those golden rules of management are the reason why most managers fail, because every one of them are misleading. Every one of them are wrong.
So, and by the way, I agree with you. It's like I feel like they're decades old, and yet nobody ever made the change about them. Okay, so how did you recognize that what did you do to recognize that the change needed to happen? What was the thing that kicked off on you? Because you've been doing it for a while. You're a heck of a manager. We know this.
Yeah, you should see my shoes, right? I didn't gain this experience from reading. You should see my shoes. Like, I'm a legit on my feet working manager. And how I learned every one of these is because I failed at it and failed at it and failed at it and kept going, how am I getting this wrong? How am I getting this wrong? Let me give you a perfect example. I was raised to believe that if you had to write somebody up, if you had to talk to somebody, you should do it privately. I mean, that is a big thing. Don't embarrass them. Don't belittle them. Get straight to the point. I mean, I've had legit conversations with people. I'll tell you what, the golden hour for management development is 3 p.m. From 3 p.m. to 4 p.m. or 4 p.m. to 5 p.m. That's the goal. That's when everybody else has left and I get to hang out with other managers and go, oh my God, you wouldn't believe what happened to me today or what this person said. And then you get that feedback from another manager, another experienced person. It's the golden hour. So I'm constantly learning in these golden hour moments. This is how you write somebody up. This is how you have a conversation. And so I was doing it. And I'll be honest with you. It's embarrassing for the person who has to reprimand somebody, especially if you're new.
Right.
Imagine, I remember I had to write somebody up that was my mom's age. Like, that's legit. That's a challenge. That's a mental challenge. I'm shuffling papers on the desk. Like, she must have thought I was like OCD. Like, what is he, straightening up? No, I'm stalling because I can't believe I got to talk to you and have this difficult conversation. So what happened was I had this guy, he called himself Triple D because his first, middle, and last name.
Oh, DDD. Got a little concern there for a second.
He always talks about himself in the third person. Triple D this and Triple D that. So he's a terrible employee, always late, always has an excuse, never punches out for the day because he always skips out early. And then like, oh, I forgot to punch out. And my staff hate him. Everybody is just annoyed with him. He's not doing a good job. I talked to him a handful of times. I finally have enough. I bring him into my office right before lunch, close the door, speak in hushed tones, and I have a little come to Jesus with him. And I say, hey, listen, I'm going to take you off the schedule. You're clearly not working out. He's like, oh my God, no, don't take me off the schedule. I need this job. Triple D this, Triple D that. So I go, okay, fine. I'll give you another chance, but you're going to sign this employee warning notice. So he says, fine. He signs the employee warning notice. He leaves. I've got him. He signed the employee warning. He's going to turn his ways. I had a successful meeting. I feel confident. I grab my lunch. I go to the break room to heat it up like everybody else does. And right before I turn the corner, I hear somebody in the break room say, what did Ralph want? And I stop. He's going to tell them that I just chewed him out. I'm like, yes, all right, I got to hear this. I stop. Nobody can see me. I just stop and listen. He says, he didn't want anything. And somebody else goes, he didn't talk to you about being late or nothing? He goes, no, he was just talking about some other job that we have. And this afternoon, he would never write me up. He completely lied. And here's the thing. Right then and there, I realized my error was my staff was not seeing that I was being a manager. And we missed that. I got to tell you, one of the things that we miss as a manager, especially new managers, is the whole intent behind a write-up. The employee's never doing anything to me. By not doing their job, by coming in late, by skipping out early, they're never affecting me, the manager. What they're affecting the customer. Yeah. Customer's not getting what they're supposed to be getting. Or they're affecting their other teammates. And both the customer, have you ever had a bad service and demand to see their manager?
Oh, yeah.
What do you want the manager to do? You want to see the manager dress down the employee. You want to see the manager go, you did what? You said who to, how dare you? Don't speak like that to our customers. That's what I want as a customer. I want to see the manager reprimand the staff member for being inappropriate with me. And also, if you're the staff member, all the other staff members in this building couldn't believe they were mad at me.
Right.
Because I didn't have their back. And that's what happens when you reprimand somebody privately.
Yep.
When you're a manager, you don't have the luxury because you have to manage the team, and the team has to see you proactively having their back. They have to see that everybody is fair and everybody's accountable and everybody's treated the same. It's a big misnomer. Big misnomer.
Great. By the way, great tip. And it's interesting because I want to talk to you about something that we've been speaking about on this program a lot. And that is, to be a great connector, there's a big difference between telling someone something and asking them something. So in your management lessons or communication, is there a form of communication that actually flips the conversation where it isn't just telling someone to do something or reprimanding them in a certain way, but maybe asking them certain powerful questions that might get a different reaction?
I'll say two things about that. First of all, in the ideal world, I'm going to tell you, I wish that I could treat people the way I want to be treated. I really wish I could, because you know how I want to be treated? With high fives, with good coffee, with a morning joke. Hey, we're all in this together. It's going to be fantastic. You treat me like that, you're going to get the most out of me, because that's how I am. However, there are people who need to be treated with a stern talk, a stern look, hey, we start at 7 here. And so you can't treat people the way you want to be treated. You have to treat people the way they need to be treated.
Right.
And finding that match, because it's fluid. Today, a pat on the back works for me. Tomorrow, I'm the same person, but a kick in the pants is probably more appropriate.
So I get it. No, I like also this whole thing here. And this was one of the things that I even did in a promo leading up to this episode, because I said the good manager being great is overrated. And I go, that's kind of ironic, because Ralph is pretty great. I can't believe this is the direction he's going to go in. And I'm starting to understand this. You're really hitting the brass tacks of the important things you need to do. That's the key message you want to hit on?
Yeah. Well, let's talk about being great. Let's talk about the problem with being great. There is a real problem with being great. And I don't know if you're familiar with the Rocky series, Rocky Balboa.
One of my favorites.
Well, me too. I'm a big fan. And Rocky, after winning the World Heavyweight Championship in Rocky 2, where he beat Apollo Creed.
By 1 second.
Doesn't matter. He won. That's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
When he came off of that game, out of that ring, his whole life changed. I mean, at the beginning of Rocky 3, I'm getting too far inside baseball for those who don't know the Rocky movie.
He has all those fights. Yeah, right.
Do it. Rocky 3, the opening of Rocky 3, he is on candy bars. Yeah. He is on magazine covers. He's on energy drinks. He's on all the top talk shows. They made a statue of him, a bronze statue, and put it in front of the Philadelphia Art Museum. I mean, this guy could not be more famous. And he didn't make it 2 rounds against Clubber Lang.
Right.
The world heavyweight champion, the greatest boxer of all time, fictionally, of course, the greatest boxer of all time.
What do you mean? It's not real?
He bought into it. He believed the hype. And that's what happens to managers who, once they get promoted, they believe they've done all the work. I mean, people, I'm telling you, I promote managers. You would have thought I just gave them a lottery ticket. And they're like, I never have to work again. I'm just going to sit in my office and play Candy Crush. You'll do what I say because I said so. That's what I'm going to command. And they fail miserably because they think they are great. And when you think you're great, you stop trying to be any good. That's the problem.
Would you agree that being really good might be another way of looking at being great?
1,000,000%. I'll take a good, hardworking manager any day over the self-imposed, I'm the greatest manager that's ever lived. You know where it's really dangerous? Now, this is a story I heard a long time ago, and it's what an eye-opening story. And that is this. I'm going to bullet point it for you. In the military, pilots have the most crashes in the first 2 years of service.
Wow.
The military pilots are expected to crash airplanes for the first 2 years that they they fly airplanes. That's not out of the norm. You can imagine that's a thing.
Okay. Right? That makes sense.
And then the weirdest thing happens. They go 4 years, and almost to the date, 4 years without a single incident. I'm talking not a close call, not a mishap. I mean, 4 years of perfect flying. And then all of a sudden, you know what happens at year 6? They start having crashes again.
So what's happening?
Having all kinds of crashes again.
So what's happening in this window? What's going on after that window?
They know they are so confident in their ability to fly. Okay. They stop doing everything that made them good. They stop doing the checks. They stop doing the checklist. They stop following up. They stop asking questions. They stop going out of their office, and they fail miserably. I'll tell you what, when I'm interviewing for a manager and somebody says, hey, I've been managing. I'm like, how long have you been managing? If they've been managing for 2 years, I'm like, get in here, because they're right in that sweet spot. I got 4 years, but they've been managing for 20 years. I'm like, gosh, you probably suck. I mean, you probably not, and I don't mean it in a bad way. I mean, you probably have already peaked. You probably have, you know what, I've earned the title. That's the problem with managers, new managers. They feel like they've already earned the position and they no longer have to keep earning it. Let me tell you this, so anybody listening, if you're thinking about getting promoted, you just recently promoted, work harder. Don't call it in. You're going to fail if you call it in. The promotion is work more, work harder, work smarter, figure out. It takes more time. Don't call it in. You didn't win the lottery. Sorry. I'm talking
no apologies. This is spectacular. For the listeners, you got to understand, he's taking his coffee breaks in between, and he is
That's right. That's right.
Ralph is really on. Ralph, before we get down to Fun Street here, we do all the fun stuff here. This is actually something I want to ask. You hit this point that there are people who've been managing for a really long time, and that sense of tenure might make this person not good because they figured out, I guess, ways to get around how they're doing. But this isn't an all-inclusive list, because I think there are people who are always working hard and
of course
they try their best. And maybe that one who's been doing it for 2 years. How do you keep people from remembering to be good?
How do you keep them engaged?
To be good, in your words.
To be good. I got to tell you, the number one thing that I do is always recognize what they're doing and just kind of keep reiterating. I got to tell you, the number one thing that drags managers down, other than the superiority complex, which is, again, my last book, Congratulations, Now Get Over Yourself, because the first thing you have to do when you get promoted is
starting to see a theme in your titles, Ralph.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see a theme.
And I got to tell you, I am pro manager. You might, sometimes I come across like I am extremely pro manager. I'm anti staff, but I'm pro manager. I'm not one of those who go, you know, I don't jump on a LinkedIn and go, you know, what's wrong with managers is they're also, if managers knew that, you know, people quit because of the manager, people do not quit because of the manager. People get fired because the manager's good. If you have a terrible manager, you know what you do? You stay. If you're a terrible employee and you have a terrible manager, you stay. Not the other way. Whatever. Managing, though, it's one of those things where you can never get a degree in management because the learning never ends.
Right.
And I have found for my management team, and I own a management company, I have managers that work for me. I'm not just a consultant. I actually have managers who work for me. I got to tell you, one of the things that I think my managers most love about me is that I manage through the power of suggestion, which means I don't make decisions for them. I talk about their options and I let them make their decisions.
Right.
And I am a huge educator. I mean, it's all about, hey, I heard about this management scenario. Hey, I heard about that. What would you do? What would you do? Anytime one of my managers this morning had an employee, let me tell you right here, here's a real scenario. I had a manager had an employee. She told him that she needed him to do something else. So he normally does this. She said, well, we're short today and I need you to do this. He says, I'm not doing it. If you don't like it, you can send me home. That's a real management scenario.
Yeah.
That happens all the time. And so this whole idea that, oh, the employees are the greatest. No, they're not. No, they're not. If employees were any good, we wouldn't need managers. Matter of fact, anytime an employee says to me, how do we get a raise? It's easy. Stop needing management. It's easy. Get your job done. Do what you're supposed to be doing. Be on time. And you know what? If you do that, you know what I'm going to do? Promotion to management.
I knew there was a coming.
How do I get promoted? It's easy.
Ralph Peterson, Thrive Loud listeners need to know, is not only one hell of a manager and hell of an author, he's also a hell of a businessman and a really good speaker, as you haven't been able to figure out here. You're smart.
Not terrible. I do like to talk.
You do, which actually gets, by the way, you did hit it home that giving them the optionality and asking the questions, let them decide what decisions they need to make, is actually where the best leaders come from. And that's a great piece that I guess that's funneling through good management. I'm going to use the word good all day today.
It is challenging to do.
Yes.
Because failure is expensive.
Yeah.
And there are times when I say, what would you do? I'm like, this is, these are the options. What are you going to do? And they say, I'll do this option. And I go, oh, that one's expensive. What is the other, so there are times when I have to go, I want you to make the decision, but I also want you to make the best decision. I do let my managers fail because I think it's important, but I don't like them to fail too hard where they can't bounce back from. So I got to be on the lookout for that.
Let's do this. Do the plug part here, and then we'll get to Fun Street here on Thrive Loud. Share with the listeners all the places people can get the book, find you, websites, URLs. I'm dropping it here for those that are watching on the screens. But they'd love to hear it from you and the listeners. So.
Sure. I would love to spend the time hawking my book because I think it's an important book. And so if you just went to ralphpeterson.com, you can find everything. But what I would rather do with this little time is I would rather make a pitch. And here's the pitch. If you have ever thought about, that's nice. If you have ever thought about being in charge, do it. Do it. It's worth it. Even if you fail, fall backwards, break a leg, get back up and do it. There's a huge shortage. There really is. There's a shortage in leadership in every industry, in every country, civil, church, community. The bank has a problem with managers. The school has a problem with it's a national crisis. How many people are not willing to stand up and be adults? I mean, that's what managers are. They're the adult in the room. And if you have the ability, if you want to even try it out, reach out to me. Good Lord, I want to help. That's my pitch. So that's my public service announcement. Raise your hand. Somebody says, I need somebody to do something. Say, I'll do it. Come in. I'll do it. Stop sitting in the back row and then complaining that you don't have a front row seat.
I love it. We will put it all in the show notes for all those listeners out there, and they'll find it wherever it is. All right. Ralph, permission to go down Fun Street with you because we didn't do this the last time around. So, because Fun Street goes like this. I think we discussed what your all-time favorite movie was. We covered that the last time you were here. But now this is kind of like the speed round. It's kind of like Family Feud in a way. Oh. All right. I'm going to ask you something. I want you to hit me with the first thing that comes to your mind, the thing that lifts you up, that makes you feel good, that basically makes you thrive. Sound good?
Sure.
All right. A song you like to hear or that pumps you up.
Anything by Bruce Springsteen.
Favorite food that's not a dessert.
Good Lord. Favorite food is not a dessert. I would say my go-to has got to be good Lord. It's not that good of a favorite, right?
We got religion on here. We got to go to a higher power. Good Lord. Okay.
I know. Well, I was going to say a tater tot, but I don't know if a tater tot's an actual food. So
I think it's a food. It's not a dessert.
We're going to go with tater tots.
Favorite dessert?
Blueberry pie.
A thing you wish you did more of?
Run.
Thing you wish you did less of?
Procrastinate.
If you could snap your fingers and go anywhere in the world, where are you?
In the den with my wife.
That's a great answer.
I love her. I know this is live. Good Lord, I can't get enough of that lady. Anyway, no, go on.
Well, actually, I'm going to say this because it's just about a year. I guess we can say by the time this episode drops, happy anniversary.
Thank you. Thank you. The 30th of November. Yeah.
1 year.
This is where I want to be.
Yeah. You could take the pennies out of the jar anytime you want now. And you got married right before COVID hit, literally. Like, I guess that was a good thing. You got a wedding in?
Yeah. That's funny is you always hear, I always heard if you want to tell if you're good with somebody, go on like a camping trip, a 5-day camping trip. And if you survive that, if you come out of there still friends, you could probably have a pretty strong marriage. Listen, we've been locked up in the same house for 10 months and we could not be strong. Well, let me speak for myself. I could not be happier with her. I don't know how she feels. She's probably like, you could stop drinking so much coffee.
Hey, if drinking coffee gets you to give an answer of that's where you'd be if you could snap your fingers.
Yeah, right beside her, 1,000,000%. Yeah.
I guess what's next? What's big things coming up for you? Look, we're all looking forward to the virus ending, and I know in the work that you do, because you deal with a lot of nursing homes and whatnot, your work actually looks kind of similar to what it was before COVID, and obviously unfortunate stuff with older people and the people you have to deal with. But what are you looking forward to moving forward from your business, from the books, from all the things you're doing? You're always on top of things. I want to hear. Share with the listeners.
I got to tell you that this has been an incredible time for me because I have had to stretch and grow. My assistant, India, and we have all year have been nervous about closing our doors, nervous about losing contracts. Yeah. The prices of stuff in long-term care has gone up exponentially. So, it's easy to lose a contract over something as reasonable as like our expense has gone up. We can't afford, the management oversight, the training, development, that's always a thing. So we've been just shooting like, what can we do? What can we do? What can we do? What can we do? And we are so excited. We started an online university, the Ralph Peterson School of Management, and we have started we are right now, we just created this whole program teaching people how to run housekeeping departments and laundry departments in nursing homes. And next we're going to build one for dietary, how to run dietary departments in nursing homes. And then it'll be how to run maintenance departments in nursing homes, all virtually, all video based, all you can watch at your leisure. It has been such a fun time. And I think that if we did not have this pandemic lockdown, try to figure out how to control, expand your business from home, we would have never came up with this. And it's by far one of the most exciting things I'm doing right now.
Very cool. And a great idea.
Yeah.
Obviously something from the expert himself to be able to share that wealth of knowledge to everybody in an easy, accessible way to do it, and keeping you, not at home a little bit.
That's the other thing I want to tell you. I don't want to go anywhere. I love being home. I love it. My wife is a school teacher, and they're all like, they might be closing the school. They might be closing. I'm going, please God, close the school. Let her stay home. Because this has been. I like her being home.
I did have this conversation, Ralph, with a fellow speaker, and they were saying what was, everyone was saying all the bad things that were happening in 2020. And they're like, what were some of the blessings? And I go, I got to spend more time with my family this year than I have maybe ever. So, those type of things we have to look at.
Let me say that too, being a speaker, and I know that you're a professional speaker as well. And there's a lot of professional speakers out there. And for those of you who are curious, like, what the heck is a professional speaker? What we do is we take story and we motivate and inspire and educate people. And we do it in front of, groups of people. It's one of the greatest jobs in the entire universe. Here's a little tip that I just figured out as well. If you're a speaker and you're just struggling, like, how am I going to handle 2021? This is what I just stumbled upon. One of the associations that I have done work with in the past reached out, and they're like, we're just looking at 2021 calendar and see what we can do. And what the association's problem is right now? How do you continue to provide value to their members? That's their question. How do you provide value to their members virtually? Because they're not going to have the in-person. There's no plan for the in-person. And so I just pitched and I said, you know what I'll do? I'll do an hour program every month for your members.
Nicely done. Nice offer.
So 12 programs next year, one a month for 1 hour. I'm going to be able to hopefully leverage that to, expand my management school, expand my books, get more people to know me. And guess what it does for me in the association? It gives us like this.
Yep.
When they go live, I want to be like this with them. So
planning for the future.
Going, how do I give? I'm going to reach out to every association I have a relationship with and go, hey, listen, how do we make this happen?
I like it.
Yeah.
Ralph Peterson basically showing you the real good way. I'm using this word good a lot here intentionally.
I like it.
As best as we can. Ralph, continued success to you. Congrats on 1 year and your wedding. Congrats on the business, on the book, Good Manager. Being Great is Overrated. We will put all the links in the show notes for all those listeners out there. A pleasure having you back on the program, my friend.
Thank you so much for having me. I got to tell you, let me just point out one small thing about the book. The best part about the book is there's a piece of trash at the end. See that? There's a piece of trash. And if you look at the back of the book, I'm holding a piece of trash. And it's because that's how I train all managers, with a piece of trash.
Ralph Peterson, always a pleasure, my friend.
We'll have to talk again. You're like, what?
I got it. I know. It's another show. It could be a whole other episode. Anyway, man, thanks for coming on the program. Really great.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
And to all the listeners out there, thank you for joining us. Until next time, keep thriving onward and upward. And remember, be brief, be bright, be gone.